Hi everyone, and welcome back to Love, Sex and Magic with me, your host, Mel Wells. And today's episode, we are talking all about finding your purpose, turning on your Lightworker light, not hiding from your mission, and the collective awakening that we are all here to be a part of. I'm joined with my amazing friend, spiritual Lightworker expert, Amber Valdez. Amber is a former NFL cheerleader, TV personality turned life purpose cheerleader and intuitive coach who helps her community become the happiest versions of themselves, leave relationships that don't serve them, create a deeper connection with the relationships that they do have, and live a purpose-driven, fulfilling life that they love. Over 300 students have graduated from her Turn Your Crazy into Your Purpose and Let Your Light Shine Live boot camps, and she co-facilitates some of the top programs and workshops around the world, such as Stretch 22 with Preston Smiles, the Conscious Boss Bootcamp with Emily Gallagher, the Bridge Experience, and Extreme Leadership with Alexi and Preston, and many, many more. So yeah, in this episode, we really go deep in terms of talking about awakening to your purpose, letting your light shine, not being afraid of judgment from people from school and people in the lives of your past, if you know what I mean. And we just jam on all things living your purpose and leading a life as a light worker in this time on the planet Earth. So let's go. Amber Valdez, sister, welcome to the show.
Oh my goddess, I'm so happy to be here and in your new casa in Miami.
Oh baby, I can't wait for you to be here with me.
I'm gonna come next month.
Can't wait to hang. You were part of this manifestation. In fact, you were the one that said on the beach, why didn't you get a big place and then women like me can chip in and we can have like this amazing queen's condo? And I was like, damn, you made me think bigger in that moment, because I was just gonna look for like a 1-bed or 2-bed. You were like, get a 4-bed, like get a big place. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get a big place and it's just gonna be the most amazing palace. And here we are. Here I am right now in this amazing 4-bed palace, and you're going to come out next month and you're going to have one of these rooms just as like a part-time thing. And it's going to be amazing. Here we are creating our own reality, babe.
Straight up. And I'm so proud of you. And, it takes a very unique woman to be open to that, and I love that you were like, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And I think that so many times women overthink shit and just be like, that sounds like fun, so let me just do it. And you did it. You're like, and you made it happen, babe. So I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I don't really overthink things. I think when I want something, I just go for it. And I think that's part of having 5 planets in Capricorn. Sometimes it's a great thing because I just go for what I want. And sometimes it means that I act too fast on things.
Me too. But at least we believe everything is possible. And I think that's really the biggest takeaway, is that as you share stuff like this with your audience, the women will start to see like, wow, if Mel can do that, I can do that. And I love
100%,
that. How we inspire each other like that.
Exactly. So here's what I want to talk to you about today, babe, because as you know, as we all know, the world is going through a huge spiritual awakening right now. A huge collective awakening and also a lot of division. And so this is something that I know you support your clients with and your audience with. What is your advice for people who are going through like a big spiritual awakening right now, and they're looking around their lives and they're going, oh my God, my friends don't get me anymore. My family think I'm crazy. What do I do with this? I feel like I'm an alien suddenly. What's your advice? I know this is like your speciality.
Oh my goddess, I'm so glad we're talking about this. There's so many people going through this right now. So first, wherever you guys are at, I just really want you to even say out loud, if you're in your car or wherever you're listening, I am not crazy. I am just waking up. Right? I am not crazy. I am waking up, or I am ascending, because you're not crazy. I'm not crazy. Mel's not crazy. Our community of friends is not crazy. This is real. This is actually real, and it's going to be okay. And it's actually going to be better than imagined. And so if Mel and I are the only two people that get you, know that we get you. And there are so many others that get you from all over the world. Your friends may not get it. Most oftentimes, if you're a light worker, your friends don't get it. Original friends. Your family doesn't get it. And people do think you're absolutely batshit crazy. And you're starting to look around and having that moment at work of like, oh my God, I cannot come to this job one more day. Oh my God, I don't want to even be in this family. Oh my God, I can't live in this town anymore. What's wrong with me? I have a great job. I have benefits. I have a good, air quote, relationship, but you want more. And you're realizing the things you have around you, you don't want anymore. And you feel like you're going crazy, but you're not, you're waking up. So I really just wanted to start with that piece.
Yes, I love that reminder so much, babe. And I think it's just good for people to realize that, like, you and I, like, we were not friends that grew up together, you know.
Nope.
We are soul sisters, and we are family who found each other in our later life.
Yes.
So, you know, we connected online, and I think what happens is when you are brave enough to own you're crazy and own that you're not crazy, you're waking up, own your spiritual path and decide this is the path that I'm on now. Because I think once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. Like, you can't unsee. So then you're on this path, and you do have to leave people behind. You do have to say goodbye to some people, but you're going to inspire them later anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to find your tribe online. I mean, this is how it's happened for me. Like, I have so many amazing girlfriends. None of them are people that I grew up with. None of them are from my hometown. All of them are sisters that I've met through just really committing to my own path.
Yeah.
And that just attracts the same like-minded people in. That's the power of the internet as well, you know?
Oh, straight up. And turning your light all the way on. And I want to speak into when I first started having this awakening. So I was coming off of starring on a reality show that I was bullied on. I was, 10 years into freelance TV hosting, where I was interviewing celebrities on and off the red carpet. I'd found out that my love of my life was cheating on me, having sex with strangers. He was a sex addict.
No.
And at the same time, I had the biggest callback of my life at E! News. And it was my 5th callback. And my heart was so broken. I felt so out of integrity because I did not want to talk bad about celebrities anymore. I didn't want to gossip. I wanted to change the consciousness of the planet. I wanted to talk about angels and crystals and all the things that I loved. But I was like, who am I? Who's going to listen to me? And my agent was like, you got to do this. You got to do that. And I'm like, how am I going to go be a gossip hound? And then I'm going to talk about spirituality. Like, how's that going to work? And I had a total breakdown. Because I was looking at my life saying, I don't know what I want to do, but I know this is not it. And I had an out-of-body experience. I walked off the set. I was going to go home and commit suicide that night because my dream was dead. My dad was dead. And that was getting activated, where I just put that on a shelf and didn't face off. My relationship was dead. And I felt like there was nothing else to live for. And so I'm not saying that anyone may or may not be going through this extreme of a dark night of the soul, but whether you guys are in your dark night of the soul journey where everything in your life is essentially going to have a tower moment, like in the tarot deck, like everything has to collapse so it can be rebuilt, or if you're just literally looking around in your life and saying, I'm just not satisfied or inspired about my life anymore. And everyone around me, including my parents and my partner, is calling me like selfish and ungrateful and I should be happy. And people trying to tell you what you should be. I want you to know that that part of you, the belief system of the matrix that told you the slavery mentality, you had to get the 9 to 5 with the good job and the picket fence and the benefits. And you're now beginning to wake up and going like, this isn't for me anymore, but my whole life I've been told that this is what was success, or this is what was going to make me happy, and now it's not. You get to know that, yes, you are having a death, and you are on the verge of a rebirth, and some will continue to grow and expand with you, and some will just lovingly go away. They're just like your favorite pair of shoes from high school. There's probably nothing wrong with them. You just outgrew them. And so being in your spiritual process is a part of learning who you truly are and knowing that when you follow the whispers of your soul, it's going to lead you to your true soul family, because the people that got you here are not going to get you there. I know that can be really scary for people, going, oh, so I have to leave my partner and my best friend and all my things. It's like, you don't have to do any of that. But if you're finding yourself really going inward, and I know when I was going through my spiritual awakening, I looked around and I had all these Hollywood friends, right? They were all wanted to like be with celebrities and be here and there and everywhere. And I just remember spending a lot of time alone during that time. Like, I felt very lonely, but I also felt okay. And I was binge listening to Abraham Hicks. We're talking like, this is like 10 years ago. I was binge watching Abraham Hicks and Louise Hay, and there were no really podcasts back then, but like reading books. And I would rather sit in my room and play with my crystals and meditate and be in nature by myself than I would wanted to go do the things that I normally did. And so I found myself just bored with life and bored with the friends and the stuff we were doing. And I share this with you guys so you can feel a sense of like, oh my God, that's me. And oh my God, I'm not alone. And oh my God, I'm not crazy. And I'm sure Mel has her own version of that, but it is a death and rebirth process. And on the other side of that is you becoming who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. And that's when your soul sisters come. And that's when your soul family comes, because you're radiating at the same frequency. And I know Mel can probably attest to this, of the women in her groups and her community. You end up making the bestest friends that were like better than any of your other friends that are probably from around the fucking world.
Oh, yeah.
And they become like your everything. And so because of the internet, as Mel mentioned, like, the sky's the limit. And, you know, I just think it's so exciting that when you raise your vibration, you start to really draw in your true people. And when you stop dimming your light for others to feel comfortable, those who really meet your frequency will make their way.
It's so true. And it's also like an instant connection.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like I connect with someone now online and I instantly know she's a soul sister. Yeah. You know, like I just know, and like we just know. And I think a part of this is, yes, raising your frequency and doing the work, but it's also going to be like, once you are on this awakening path, you're going to want to help others. You're going to want to shine your light so that you can actually start helping others turn their lights on. And the biggest way we can do this is obviously putting ourselves actually out there and not hiding away, not dimming our light, not keeping our light only on for ourselves in a little cupboard at home, but actually putting it out so the world can see, like, this is my mission, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm here to do. I actually just did a podcast with Sarah Thomas, the astrologer that we have inside of my membership, and we had like a whole hour talking about the age of Aquarius and just how this is like a time for light workers to literally turn their light all the fuck way on.
Yes.
And enroll as many people as possible, because this is literally the age of awakening on our planet, you guys. So what is your advice for people that are like, they know that they're on this path, but they're afraid of being judged. They're afraid to put themselves out there because people from their old life are going to judge them and they're going to think that they're crazy and yada, 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 all the stuff that you and I have been through and worked through many years ago. What is your advice for people that are still hiding out?
Yeah. So first of all, I feel you. I've been there and I get it. And I know Mel has too. So I just want to let you know you're not alone. I have an entire course called Let Your Light Shine Live, which helps people break through their fear of being seen, being heard, being judged through the power of live video. And one of the things that we all have in common is we're so scared about what Sally from high school thinks. And I know when I first started my business, I would go and so my business took off on this platform called Periscope, which was a live video platform before Facebook Live was a thing or Instagram Live. And I went from 700 followers to 10,000 overnight. And all of a sudden I had an audience and I was like, holy shit. Right. And so things can happen literally like that fast for you guys. And I had no intention. I wasn't trying to sell anything to anybody. I just coming on and sharing affirmations on sticky notes. And I was just sharing about forgiveness and self-love and the things that I was doing, but I had no alternate agenda. And I share this with you except for I just wanted, if I could help one person out there from my video in Ohio or wherever, then it was going to be worth it. And so I think where Mel is getting is that you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have the name of your business or a title or any of that. You just get to have the intent to share. And being a light worker is about breaking through your stuff and then paying it forward to others. And so it doesn't even have to be a business. You can still work in your 9-to-5 job, but just decide, I really like this crystal, or I really like this book. Let me get on and share with someone. And that takes practice. And we could go down the list of all the witch wounds, but for many a lifetime, you were most definitely probably either burned at the stake, buried alive, or persecuted for having a voice and sharing your gifts with the world. And so for a lot of us, it's about getting safe in our bodies this round and knowing that this is not the lifetime we're going to be persecuted, burned alive, or, buried alive. And this is going to be working through that witch wound, number one. And witch just means wise woman, by the way, but if you're in Mel's tribe, you probably already know that. And so it's that. It's baby steps. It's also, when I first started on Facebook, like I mentioned, if certain girls, I would be like, please God, don't let my mom get on, or don't let my sister get on. Or if someone from high school would get on and I would see the name of them, I would start to change who I was being. And I started to notice this in my body. I was one way on Periscope and one way on Instagram because a lot of people from high school didn't follow me. But then as soon as I was on Facebook, I felt like I had to still be the old Amber. And I would get nervous and I would change. And it wasn't until working with a coach and doing a lot of shadow work. And so my main thing is shadow work. And it's like a big part of my course as well. Is like, you've got to learn to love the good, the bad, the ugly, all the parts of you. So you don't have that resistance to worrying about what Sally from high school thinks, because at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. But I do want to let you know that when I started being myself and not giving a fuck, and did a video called like, Who the Hell Do I Think I Am? That like went viral. And I just basically aired all my dirty laundry of being like a party girl and doing a bunch of ecstasy and throwing EDM festivals, and just like shared all the things I was so scared people were going to judge me for. All of a sudden I felt free. And I remember my bully from high school ended up DMing me and asking me about my retreat. And I remember being like, first of all, I do not want her going to this retreat in Mount Shasta. But like, second of all, it was very healing for me. And she was like, I'm so proud of you. And she was like, you're so inspiring. And I literally just started crying because I was like, this woman that I've given so much power to for so long, dim my light for, is now coming to me for inspiration. And that's why I'm so glad you brought that up, Mel, was that like the people who might be judging you now, they're just judging you because they have not given themselves permission. And so by you giving permission, you're actually freeing them as well. And that's what's so beautiful, is that we all want to be free. We all want to be loved and seen and honored. And so you have to go first, and light workers have to go first. And I know in a time right now where spirituality is trendier than ever. And when I was first online, nobody was playing with cards or crystals and doing any of this shit online. I feel like every TikTok video is that now. And I'm so excited to see people stepping into their power. And it's never been more safe than now to be a light worker. And it's never been more important and imperative to shine your light, because we each came here for a unique soul assignment. And just like our unique fingerprint, we each have a mission on this planet. And by you not giving those gifts to the world, somebody is suffering. And maybe it's that bully, right? Think about, had I not gone live and shared my stuff, maybe that bully wouldn't have gotten inspiration to learn to forgive herself and stop judging herself. And so that's what we're here to do, guys. We're here to just turn a light all the way on. And like the lighthouse standing on the corner or the edge of a cliff doesn't pick and choose what ships it shines to. It just shines. So everyone can find their way home. And it's going to take practice. It's going to take getting around people who are doing the same. It's going to take being brave. It's going to be uncomfortable, like anything we do for the first time. But I think once you start to get evidence of the DMs or the comments of even just like one person, you're going to start to go, wow, I do matter. And you're going to start to see slowly. And then it just kind of becomes like a, duh. But I do want to let you know, I still get intimidated and insecure sometimes, depending on who's in the room. And I think that's just normal, because we all want to be liked.
Oh, babe, I love that you shared that. And I had complete goosebumps when you mentioned about the girl from high school. I've had so many similar experiences. I've had people from school reach out, and it's like, when I see that name in my DMs, I like felt my body go into like a freeze response. What is she going to say to me? Because I recognized the name and I'm like, oh my God, I used to really want you to like me, or I really was afraid that you didn't like me, or, all of this high school girl stuff. And but I think we all go through that at high school. But I've had countless messages from girls that I grew up with that have reached out in some way to say, this is really inspiring, like this is really cool, or like, how can I do this, how can I get involved, or things like that. And it's so healing and it's so touching and it's so moving, because like obviously we can see who watches our stories, and like sometimes when you see names from the past, you do have that oh my God, like I have it sometimes, like, what do they think? What are they thinking? But you know what I've started to say to myself? If they are watching all of my stories, they must be inspired. They must be getting something from it. They're not just watching to judge every day. Do you know what I mean? Come on. So this is what I want to share with people. Like, you're inspiring people that you don't even know. If you weren't, they wouldn't even be bothering to look. They would have gone.
No. And our haters are our biggest fans in disguise.
Yes.
When someone hates on you or judges you, it's just because they haven't given themselves permission to release that part of themselves, and or they're scared. They're terrified because they've been programmed by the same matrix that we have, that it needs to look like this to fit in. It needs to look like this to feel safe. This is acceptable. Right. This is not. And so when you break out of that box, if they side with you, they're going to have to look at their lives and do an inventory. And that's terrifying for people, which is why it's so much easier to go, they're crazy, they're woo-woo. Oh my God, I can't believe she's doing that. Because then at that point, they would have to go, well, where am I not letting myself be fully expressed sexually or powerfully, or, be free? Like, I can't tell you how many people used to at the beginning be like, oh, must be nice to be in Africa and like building wells, and like must be this and that. And I'm like, you can do it too.
Like anyone, yeah. Like we can all do what we're doing now. It's like we create our own reality, and you and I have both gone from a very different reality, to the one that we have now. It's not reserved for only special people. Everyone and anyone listening to this that feels that call to step into their light and shine it brightly, you all can do this. You all can do this. And that's the other thing that I want to say as well. You don't have to become a coach. You don't have to have a big business. If you want to do that, do it. But you can also just be someone who shares, who shines their light without turning it into a career. Yep. So there's two different, you can turn it into a career, but you don't have to. You could be someone that works at the bank and is a light worker. You could be someone who works at the post office and is a light worker. Like you could be a Starbucks barista and be the biggest light worker of them all. I'm
so glad you brought that up. I have a light worker archetype quiz, and it's so interesting because people assume if you're going to be a light worker, you've got to be a podcaster or a coach or, a writer or whatever, but that's not true. Like there are many different types of light workers, and depending upon your soul's mission will depend on, what skills and what gifts you bring forth. And, I'm just so glad you mentioned that, because it seems like it can be so terrifying, right? And that's what I'm saying, like, guys, you're not going to wake up and like snap your fingers and you're going to have it all figured out. And you really just got to know if there's this burning call, these little whispers, I call them the whispers of your soul, right? They're going to be softer than the yells of your ego going, you're crazy, this isn't possible. Like, I can't tell you how many students, I'm probably you as well, Mel, like in the middle of nowhere, like church town, like they're like closet light workers, right? They're like so lonely. They're all up in their stuff. They're online. It's like, if you're on this podcast right now, you're being called for something bigger. Know that, because it's my mission to activate 10 million souls on fire and to be the wind beneath wings. Mel is committed to creating women to step into their fullest expression and activate all their things. Like, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Your guides are here guiding you, your angels, your unseen team, to this podcast to remind you you are here for more. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You're not going crazy. Invest in getting around people that have what you want and actually can give you directions. And I want to share this piece because when I first started out, I was always, I coach a lot of people that are making the pivot from their 9 to 5 to their soul's assignment. And the common theme is they keep trying to ask for acknowledgement or for their family or partners or current community to get it. And they think because their mom, who grew up the way she grew up in the lifetime she grew up, where it was severe scarcity, it was, grandparents came from the war or traveled across the country. There wasn't a lot of jobs. There wasn't a lot of food. A lot of them were in famine. Like you think about these like really limited scarcity imprints of DNA that have been passed down from your grandparents to your parents to you. It's not your shit, right? It's like, but you're still trying to, they're using iPhone 5s and you're using an iPhone 12 and you have apps they don't have and you're trying to get them to get it. It's like, stop trying to ask for directions from people that have never been where you're going.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like they keep going back to their same mom, dad community that doesn't get it. Just like, why would you try to get your mom to know Zoom or iTunes? Like you wouldn't go ask your mom what podcast to freaking listen to. So why are you asking her for permission if it's a good idea for you to become a yoga instructor or to go, live in Bali or whatever it is that your soul is calling? And it's like, it's the ego and the darkness that work together. And I think that often the validation piece that's been ingrained in us since we were children and trying to get that validation and approval. You guys, full transparency, my family still doesn't understand what I do. Okay. They still think I'm crazy. They've never taken any of my programs. They don't watch my stuff. They think I'm crazy. They don't even understand that there are people online. Like, so what do you mean these people? Where do you find these people? Like, how do they find you? They're just going to pay you to like help them. Like it is so confusing to them. But I stopped a long time ago trying to get approval from my family because up until about 2 years ago, my mom was still trying to get me to go back to college and get a business degree. And I never went to college. I went to like one semester, but I literally was like, Mother, I had a $500,000 month. I'm not going back to college and I don't need to go to business school. And she was just like, what? And like, she just doesn't get it. And it's like, you can spend your time trying to get your family to get it, or you can just go find your people that get it in your soul family. So you don't have to spend that energy trying to enroll or convince and make people get it. And so ask yourself in this moment, what would be possible if I stopped trying to spend my energy on trying to get insert the blank to get it? And how about I just spend that time and energy in investing in a coach, getting into a community, surrounding myself with people that already speak my language instead of trying to get your family to learn Spanish. Just like go hang out with people that speak Spanish instead of trying to get your family to learn Spanish. And if you think about how crazy that would be, of trying to get your mom to learn Spanish so you could learn Spanish instead of just going and learning from a teacher that speaks it. That's a really good analogy, actually. It just dropped in right there.
It was good. Yeah, there's a couple of points that I want to pick up in there. The first is a reminder to people that we are in the age of awakening. People are waking up hard and fast. Not everyone, though. Like, not everyone's doing that, right? And it's becoming clearer. But that means you are here on this planet at this exact time to be a part of this human experience, which means you are here for the age of Aquarius. Congratulations. We all made it here together. Woohoo. So happy that we're all here. You are here for a reason. So if no one around you gets it, if your family think you're fucking weird and they don't understand it, congratulations. Like, you're the one that's meant to go first. Yep. That is a part of your mission. You're meant to be a way shower to other people that are at the start of their journey or who are not woken up yet.
Yes.
The second
real
thing
quick, I just want to add to that real quick. This is important. If you are a true light worker, you're probably put in a family that doesn't get it because that's a part of your initiation. It's a part of your initiation to stop caring what people think and to be more committed to God, universe, spirit, and source in your mission than you are to being liked. And I had a healer once tell me a couple years ago in Uganda, and she said, are you willing to leave everyone and everything behind to serve God? And I didn't even have to question. I said, yes. And she was like, okay. And that's the level of like, what did you really come on this planet to do? Did you come on this planet to execute your soul's contract that you signed before you became a human? Or did you come on this planet to people please, barely get by, to buy shit and suck air and suffer? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
People don't have that sense of mission and purpose until they discover it, right? So people can be like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What's my mission? It's like, until you feel that connection and you start waking up, that's when you're like, I'm so committed to this. But before that, you're not going to feel that sense of drive, that sense of commitment, that sense of purpose and mission. And
or wanting more. Right? Like or the indicator of wanting more is the indicator that you're waking up and your purpose is on its way.
Yeah, I remember, this is making me think of so many things back at the start of my journey. So when I first started waking up, I was in a long-term relationship with someone in my hometown. And I remember just having these feelings, like you said, of like, I want more, like I want to experience my life to the absolute fullest. It was after my dad passed away. And obviously my whole relationship with life and death completely changed when that happened, right? But I remember being like, I want to grow a business. I want to like help change the world. I want to learn about the universe and spirituality, and I want to travel the world, and I want to experience so much of life. And, the people that were around me at the time were very much like, we get married, we have kids, we have a mortgage in our hometown, and then we just stay there, and that is what life is. And I remember feeling crazy, feeling like a weirdo, feeling like an alien. And I remember someone saying to me, I just feel sorry for you, Mel, because you want more and you're not satisfied with what you've already got. And I remember that's why I called my second book Hungry for More, because I was like, I feel a deep craving for something more, like a spiritual hunger and a need for a fulfillment of purpose. And no, I won't be happy with the status quo of what life, society tells me I should be happy with. So don't feel sorry for me because I want more. Do you know what I mean? So that was one thing. The second thing that I want to speak on is you mentioned about your family not getting it. Still not understanding. So for me, I have been in this industry, on this path since I was 22 or 23, and my family have, supported to the best of their abilities. But when I start speaking about spirituality, the universe, all this stuff, there's like a blank. Right? Don't get it. Like eating disorder stuff, healing our relationship with food, mindset. Okay, like mindset. Yeah, I can get it. As soon as I start going down the spiritual route, confused, right? Until last year, right? I've sent them podcast links, sent them videos. Tony Robbins tickets have been bought, things like this. Nothing has worked. And so I just go, okay, I'm just going to let go. I love them so much. Like, they're just on their own path. They support me as much as they possibly can. And then last year, boom, 2020. My mum has a spiritual awakening, right?
Why?
Through no power of my own. She just has these breakthroughs of her own accord. And
Wow.
I get to be the guide, because guess what? She comes straight to me and she says, am I going crazy? And I'm like, no, Mum, you're waking up.
Yes.
Right? Now, 2021, she's been working with a coach. Now my stepdad's working with a coach. My whole family is now starting this journey, and it's all because of the wake-ups that were happening in COVID, right? So now my mum sends me videos. She's like, watch this. Like, my mum is awake as anything right now, and she's on this path, and I'm so proud of her. But I'm saying that, but like, it has taken like 8 or 9 years of me being in this industry, and just me just loving them exactly as they are. And now they're on this path of like looking around them, and they're being like, I'm not that, like, my mum actually said to me today, like, I'm not crazy, everyone around me is crazy. Because like they're all just like being programmed and brainwashed. And like, she's now seeing everything, and she's like, this is wild. Like,
it's wild.
Yeah.
Well, everything in your life you're going to question, right? And it's like one layer after the other layer. And I know one of the biggest things for everyone in 2020 was this belief that we were in control. It was the control of like, oh, I have a job, but millions of people got laid off, right? And it's like, oh, your safe job that you went through because it was safe and guaranteed, and then all of a sudden they shut down and threw you out on the streets, wasn't so safe, was it? So there was so many collapsing of the illusion of safety and the illusion of freedom. Like our freedom construct and belief got completely, wires got rejambled. Yeah. Like, oh, we can't count on the government to be honest with us. Oh, we can't, and we can go down the list, and Mel and I, you guys know what we're talking about. But like, that was a huge awakening piece. And a lot of people had a really hard time with it. It was a deep grieving and mourning of like, wow, I've thought I could guarantee on my job, and I thought I could guarantee on the government to keep me safe. Oh, we have this virus here, like all of this, like bam. And it forced you to really, the illusion of the Wizard of Oz, and it forced you, it was a pattern interrupt. And what COVID and Black Lives Matter and Me Too, all the things are pattern interrupts for you to actually go, stop being a minion. You are in a trance state. Wake up and recognize like you have been lied to, programmed, and you are just a little puppet on the stream. Indoctrinated since you were born, and P.S. so was your parents and their parents and their parents. Right. So it's like this whole learning who we are, what we want, and what is real. And I had some moments like fetal position in the woods, because I was living up in the woods east of Los Angeles, thank God, when all that was going down. And I was literally like, what is real? What timeline am I on? Like, and people thought I was going crazy a little bit. And I think that going crazy is really just becoming more and more awake. And sometimes it's just too much information for your little brain to take on at one given moment. So give yourself some grace and know that it's a process. It's not going to happen tomorrow. And if you think you're woke, you're not. Because we've never arrived.
I love that. Yeah, like even just last year, I mean, I'm constantly getting my mind blown and having veils lifted, and I'm like, what? Like last year, God, when everything started kicking off and I started going down the rabbit holes, because straight away I was like, no, my intuition, this is not adding up. Like there's something deeper going on here. And I started going down the rabbit holes, as you do, as I'm sure everyone listening here did. And I, like you, Amber, like found myself just like crying, sobbing, like curled up and crying, like, this is not, it is, oh my God, like this is really the world that we're living in. And no, it's not what we've been led to believe.
It's the biggest betrayal.
Yeah, it is a betrayal. And it's a harsh wake-up call. So I think, on this path, it's not just like one wake-up call. It's like going to be you're consistently waking up. And that's not to say that we find ourselves being like, oh my God, the world is a terrible place. No, the world is a beautiful place, and we get to be the ones that are shifting the consciousness, that are raising the consciousness, that are changing the world. We're here to change the world. Oh my God.
Yes, we are.
I shared this meme the other day, and it was like Kermit the Frog on a bike, and he was like going one way, and he was like, fuck this world, I'm out of here, this is shit, it's so fucked up. And then it's him turning around and going back, and it's like, shit, forgot, I'm here to save the world, love and light, shit.
Oh my God, that's genius. It's so true. It's like, this world is fucked up, but I don't want to do anything about it. I'm just going to sit here and bitch and moan and complain. No, right. Guys, like, if you are not, and I say this all the time, if you are not on the front lines, you are a part of the problem. Right? If you are sitting on the sidelines eating your popcorn and Judge Judying, but not helping us, I'm like, get off the benches and get on the playing field and help Mel and I out. Like, we can't do this by ourselves, guys. Like, light workers, you got to come out of your freaking closets and we doing this thing behind closed doors, and please join arms with us. It's like, imagine a war. And we are fighting a spiritual war right now. There's the light versus the dark, and it's we know how it ends. By the way, we've all seen Star Wars. The light always wins, but it's a process until we can get heaven on earth and go from the third dimensional matrix, fear, hate, anger, violence, frequency to 5D, heart-based consciousness, all needs met. We have to go through a bit of battle. And some people I notice, especially in the spiritual community, are all rah 5D, but they don't want to step in. So it's like they're on the sidelines and we're out there getting our asses kicked on the battlefield, and they're just eating their popcorn and being like, good job. And we're like, get out here, pick up a sword, pick up your phone, do something and help us. For God's sakes, help us. You know? Like, cool.
Thanks,
for liking our posts on Instagram, but can you get your ass onto the field and do something about it?
Oh my God, I'm dead, babes.
Right?
If this podcast has not been activating for people listening, I don't know what will be. Oh God, I love you so much. Pick up a sword. That is the line of the episode. Pick up a sword. Babes, we're going to have to wrap this up soon, but let me ask you, what is something that you're loving right now in your life?
I'm loving this moment. I mean, Mercury retrograde is kicking my ass in all the ways. I mean, I've never experienced this ever. Loving. You mean like physical things, mental things, work things?
Anything that you're like really enjoying right now, from coffee to
like things like that.
Anything. What are you loving?
Well, I just started reading this new book called Nonviolent Communication.
Perfect.
And it's blowing my fucking mind.
Yes.
And I am loving, I think we get to a point where we're doing all this work and then we're like, our ego's like judge Juding, like, well, I already know. We assess others and we assess partners and and I'm kind of getting my ass kicked in the best way with my coach right now. And so I would like to say that I'm really liking and also hating simultaneously being coached. Because I've been having business coaches and all the other coaches, but I have a relationship coach, but I'm talking about like a personal, like somatic coach. I'm liking the light being shined on the parts I don't see. And that's why it's so important to have a coach and to be constantly being ascending if you're learning, is because once we think we have it figured out, there's usually something that's going to come around and smack us, blindside us in the ass. And so I'm liking the unfolding of learning how to, I don't even want to use the masculine and feminine dynamic because I think it's just so overdone, but I'm learning what I've been doing to survive, Mel, up until now, and my Capricorn ways of only being able to count on myself and not counting on my family. And, my dad was an addict, my mom's mentally ill, and I grew up pretty rough. And what I'm sharing is I'm learning how hard it's been to let the masculine support me and to trust. And it's a painful I said to my coach yesterday with tears, I don't know what I'm doing. And I know what I'm doing in so many areas of my business and the world and friendships and all things, but I really don't know what I'm doing in relationship. And I don't know how to let go, and I don't know how to trust, and I don't know how to just listen and not try to fix or help and contribute. And this is like a big, like, holy shit. So I just wanted to share that. It's big. It's big.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That actually really gave me a little series of goosebumps, which actually made me realize something about myself as well. So thank you for sharing that, babe. I love you.
I love you.
What is something that turns you on?
Also, yesterday I took a really juicy bath outside. I have an outdoor bath here, and I made love to myself outside in the bathtub, and it was super fucking hot.
Okay,
it was super
sexy.
Hot. So I felt sexy, and I had oil, and I had like this, salts, and I was just like, I am turned on right now. This is sex. There's nothing sexier than a bathtub. I don't know what that is, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself a breast massage. And I was like, okay. you know what? I'm going to make love to myself right now outside. Like neighbors could have seen, not seen, but I thought it was really, it turned me on. I think I'm turning myself on lately by loving myself more and by being gentle with myself. And just, I think I got really turned on yesterday just because I realized this part about myself, and I was like, it's okay that I don't know what I'm doing. So a little bit of loving the shadow, nothing sexier.
I love that, babe. I love that so much. Oh, amazing. And finally, when was the last time you experienced magic?
Okay, yesterday. So yesterday, dealing with some mold toxicity, we gave our notice. It's been super hectic, emotionally draining, and pretty traumatic when you have to like leave your home. And we booked this Airbnb that had a sauna and a cold plunge, and I was so excited. And we pack up our house and our car for 2 to 3 weeks because we don't know when we're going back. And I knock on the door, and there's someone in the Airbnb, and I instantly just started crying. He's like, "We're here till July 3rd." And I called this woman, and I was just like, "What are we gonna do? Like, what are we going to do? I have a big business. I have calls. Like, this is the worst. Like, I just want to feel safe, and I have safety wounds from my childhood." And I was like, here we are. I have nowhere to go again. Like, so this woman was a godsend. She was so kind. She was so nurturing. She was so compassionate and empathetic. She's like, "Oh, sweetie, I am so sorry." She had it listed on 2 sites. It was a double booking. Mercury retrograde at its finest. She didn't even know. But she told me she had this other house and a little ways away, but she basically said that she would rent it to me as long as I needed. She would furnish it, and for $50 more than what we're paying in rent right now. And so what we're paying in this Airbnb for a week is basically what it would cost to stay at this house for a whole month. And I just had this full-on exhale. This woman gave me the key. She didn't know my name. She didn't know anything about me. No credit check, no background check. Literally just gave me the key to her home and was like on the phone getting the utilities and everything set up, furnishing the place. She's like, "I'm going to rip up the carpets. I'm going to change a thing." And 3-bedroom, 2-bath, huge house. Literally, there are good people. And that felt really magical to me because I was in a little bit of a defeated moment and really, really feeling really lost and confused. And when you stay in kindness, when you stay in intention, and when you stay in surrender and trust, spirit always shows up for you. So I needed that win yesterday because it worked out even greater than I could have imagined. And now we're going to be in a place as we search for our dream home without a contract, we can give 2 weeks notice. We can leave at any time. I can just put my stuff in storage and not have to do a double move. And the last thing I want to do right now, Mel, is move when I'm trying to do my healing and get my healing. So that's when yesterday was super, super magical. And I sat in my car for 5 hours in the parking lot of a pharmacy, but I was so happy because I was like, God, my unseen team truly has my back.
I love that so much, babe. Oh, well, darling, this has just been such a pleasure hanging out with you and getting to jam on these things. Where can everyone come and get more Amber in their lives, come and receive your magic and work with you?
Yeah, so check me out at ambervaldez.com, ambervaldez.com, and I am Amber Valdez on Instagram. And that's where I am most of the times. I've got some cool quizzes. You want to take a Lightworker archetype quiz or find out if you're a Lightworker, or if you want support with learning how to shine your light powerfully on live videos so all your soul family and your potential clients can find you. I have an upcoming program coming up in August I'd love for you to check out.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, honey. We're going to head over to the membership for some more questions. But for everyone else, it's been such a pleasure.
Love you.
So if you love this episode, please be sure to share it on the gram. Let us know your takeaways. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review so more people can find these conversations and get these activations. And I'll see you next week for another episode of Love, Sex, and Magic. Have a beautiful week.